Greetings, citizens. Hey you beautiful, curious human being. You, welcome to my channel and welcome to today's Drunk Mysteries episode. I'm so happy we could meet like this. I'm so happy that somehow in all of this craziness today, you and I were able to find each other on this crazy little planet that we call home. My name is Brittany or Bratterstein, whichever you prefer, and today we're gonna be discussing a boy who remembered his past life. Not only did he remember his past life, but he remembered so much about his past life that he remembered not only did he die, but he was murdered. And with all the information stored up in that tiny little boy head of his, he was able to solve his own past life murder. It's wild, bro. But before we get started, if you have not yet had the pleasure, please make sure to join the Brat Pack by subscribing and ringing the bell. I put out a new video every single week, sometimes 2 a week, like this week, and I would love to hang out with you. Yes, you specifically, you, but I can only do that if you join the Brat Pack and become one of us. One of us. One of us. One of us. And you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you want. They're both Bratterstein, but no pressure. Now, in today's Drunk Mysteries episode, as I said above, we're going to be discussing the case of a murder that was solved by somebody remembering their past life, which is just so wild, dude. The idea of reincarnation is wild in itself, obviously. Whether or not reincarnation exists or is real is one of those mysteries of the universe that no one really has an answer to. You may think you do, but no one really knows what happens after you die. Hence, the mystery. With that said, there is a phenomena out there where children seem to remember past lives. And not only do they remember like little things, they remember very specific, intense details. And there have even been cases, whether they're true or not, that's up for debate, of course, but cases where these kids, the stories that they remember have been looked into. And these very specific details these kids have known have rang true to a person who once lived and has since died. And I find that to be very interesting, and that exact phenomena is what brings us here today for today's episode of Drunk Mysteries. With all of that said, today I'm going to tell you the story of this case, and while I do, I'm going to have me a little drink here, hence the drunk and drunk mysteries. Now, if that's not your thing, that's cool. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you find somebody who's more your speed. However, if you're kind of on the fence, like that seems weird, I don't know how I feel, maybe stick around. You might be surprised by how much you like me. Today we're having Whiter's pear cider. I already did have one of these, which if you did not see, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I did an Instagram live where I did this makeup, we chatted, I had one of these ahead of time to kind of pre-game and get ready for this since they don't have as much alcohol, and it was a good time. It's kind of a behind the scenes, so if you want to follow me on Instagram to be part of those lives, it's Bratterstein. Now, let me get into telling you the story of the past life memory that solved a muck duck murder. It's fine. Our story today begins in a place called Golan Heights, and by looking at a map, it appears that Golan Heights is an area between Israel and Syria, and it was here in Golan Heights where a 3-year-old boy knocked everyone's socks straight off their feet when he started talking about remembering his past life. Now, the identity of this 3-year-old boy has never been released. It's been a secret to this day because at the time he was 3. But what we do know about him is that he was Druze, and from what I read online, Druze is both a religious group and an ethnic group. Please correct me if I'm wrong, this is just what I read online. But from what I read, this group of people believe in past lives, they believe in reincarnation, and specifically they believe that the birthmarks on a person's body correlate with the way a person died in their past life. Very handsy today. A lot of hand movements happening. According to the family of this young boy, from the moment he could talk, he started telling them that he remembered details from his past life. He would be like, yeah, I used to do this and I used to do this. And they were like, I'm sorry, what, sir? And he was like, yeah. I was alive once and I was killed with an axe. And they were just like, no doubt, for sure. With this information, as is customary in the Druze faith, the elders in this boy's family, alongside his parents and a doctor, it's Dr. L-A-S-C-H, Losh, Nismonster. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that. We're just gonna call them Doc. So The elders, the family, the boy, and Doc went over to neighboring cities to try to jog the boy's memory further so he'd remember more about his past life. And amazingly, it worked, okay? Not only did he start to remember more details about his past life, he remembered his name, he remembered the names of other people in the town, and he remembered specifically what had happened to him in that town in his past life. And real quick, the reason we even know this story and that the story was ever released is because Doc, the doctor's name was Eli, Lasch. Well, this was a prominent doctor in Israel who was researching this reincarnation case prior to their death. They died in 2009, so sadly, this person cannot be questioned further. We just have the journals and the notes that were taken when this case was developing, as the doctor was there, like being like, oh, reincarnation, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? Did that make sense? Is that a good sentence? Tell me I'm good. So the group walk around with the little boy and they're asking people around the town like, hey, do you remember this man? Do you know this man? Have you seen this man? You know, with the name that the kid said had been his past life name. So like, hey, did you know John Smith? That's not his name, obviously. But they ask him around and finally they come upon a person that's like, oh my God, yes, I absolutely knew John Smith. The thing is, John Smith went missing 4 years ago and no one has seen him since. He just disappeared. Apparently this man, who the boys was claiming to have been in his past life, when he went missing, it just got completely overlooked because at that time, if you were found hanging out between the border of Israel and Syria, you were typically taken prisoner and usually killed because they believed that you were a spy. So when this guy went missing, they're like, well, fuck, I guess he was hanging out down by the border. Another one bites the dust. Like, he's just gone. It was common then. So they didn't think it was too weird when he just never came back. Which, now that I've said that out loud, that makes me wonder if the people who knew, you know, past life boy, John Smith, if they knew something about him that maybe they're not saying. Like, was he a spy? Who was this man? Like, what did they know? Why did they assume that he'd be over by that border? Did he go there a lot? Now I'm curious. Now I have more questions than answers, but unfortunately they're not out there. So the group walk, right, until they come upon a house. And when they come upon the specific house, the boy's like, everyone stop. This was my past life home. I lived here. This was my house. I own this home. I tended this garden. He didn't say all that, but he was like, this is the house that I lived in for sure. And, in seeing his home, he remembered who his murderer was. It was the man who was livering. Okay. It was the man who was It was the man living in the neighboring home, and he remembered this man by name. He was livering there real good livering. So the boy confronted the man, and he called the man by name, and the man responded because it was the right name. And this is when the 3-year-old boy dropped a bombshell on this grown-ass man. I'm sure he was just like, first off, who is this child? Why is he talking to me? And when he said what he said, I'm sure he was just like, I'm fucking sorry, what? The boy looked into the eyes of this man and said, I used to be your neighbor. You killed me with an axe. To which the man shit his pants. Apparently he went white as a ghost but did not respond at all. And then the little boy said, I can even show you where he buried my body. So this is when the boy, along with the elders, his parents, the doc, and his supposed killer. Wait, what the fuck was I saying? Wait a minute. This is when the boy led everyone, you know, the elders, his parents, Doc, his supposed killer. He led them to a nearby field and he told them, hey, this is where my body is buried. This is where the axe he used to kill me is buried, beneath all these stones. So this is when the people that are with him started to dig, and they dug up something sinister. After a couple minutes of digging, they found a skeleton, and the skeleton was dressed in the clothes of a farmer. Okay, and on the forehead of this skull, there was a mark. There was a linear split in the skull that would have been consistent with being hit in the head with an axe. Now, what gets real tricky about this is that at that moment, everybody turns and they look at this 3-year-old boy who's just standing there looking at them with a bright red scar down his forehead in the exact same place as the mark on the skull of the skeleton. And when I tell you that I have goosebumps, do you see them? Can you see them on camera? Is my camera that high def? I have goosebumps just thinking about that. Is it true? I don't know, but I have goosebumps thinking about it. Because can you imagine that moment of just like, and there he is. It's like a movie, and there he is with his birthmark in the same spot as the skeleton. Absolutely not. Confronted with this evidence, the supposed murderer admitted to what he did. What was he gonna do? He was like, you got me. Like, what was he gonna say? Like, me? A murderer? No, it's just a coincidence, a misunderstanding. I don't know what you're talking about. Get this kid the fuck out of here. Like, no, he admitted to what he did because he was cornered and he was caught. And that, my friends, is the story of the boy who remembered his past life and solved his own murder. And man, like, reincarnation. Okay, so it's crazy, right? I can't say that I believe in it. Can't say I believe in anything, which I think most of you know. But I will say that if anything else in this world exists, supernatural and or spiritual, I have to believe this exists as well because it makes as much sense to me as anything else in that magical sort of realm. At least to me, at least to me. And even Carl Sagan said, my friend's cat's named after Carl Sagan. Anyways, even Carl Sagan said that there are 3 claims in the ESP field that deserve serious study. 1 is that humans, by thought alone, affect random number generators in computers. 2, that people can, under mild sensory deprivation, receive thoughts or images projected at them. And number 3, that young children sometimes report details of a previous life, which upon checking turn out to be accurate, and which they could not have known about in any other way but reincarnation. And Carl Sagan was smart as fuck, boy. So, do with that information what you will. Almost 100% of people who have verifiable past life memories are children, which makes sense, right? Because if you think about it, a 3-year-old, for example, would be closer to their past life than, say, a 32-year-old lady. Because, like, I've lived this new life a lot longer. So a 3-year-old, you know, they're barely out of their old life, right? Does that make sense? Is that a good sentence? Additionally, a 3-year-old typically has less memory stored up in their mental library than somebody who's lived more years of life. So it's easier to, like, recollect, if that makes sense. In the theory that reincarnation exists, of course. Like, shit, man, I can't even remember what I did last week, let alone my past life experiences. Well, okay, that's a lie. I know what I did last week. I was at home. I'm always home, but the sentiment is the same. And it's not like I consciously remember being home. I don't remember like, oh yeah, I was on the couch. I just know I was because I'm always here. The average age of kids who remember their past lives is about 3 years old, and they tend to not remember like little bits. They remember very specific details, and they tend to be very intense and emotional when describing these details. When I say they're emotional, like they cry and they like want to go back home and want to go back and see their family. So it's very like, I can't imagine having a kid going through that. I'd be like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm your family. I don't know what to tell you. Why are you crying? But they like get very emotional and they remember all these details. And then, have you ever seen the movie Chances Are? I'm going to watch that movie. Chances are, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to give you like a whole synopsis, but basically, in this theory, it's a reincarnation movie where this guy dies. He gets reincarnated because he wants to go back immediately because his wife's about to have a baby. It's a whole thing. And they're about to give him his shot, so he doesn't remember his past life, but he doesn't get the shot and he gets reincarnated, and then he goes back and he ends up being born into a family and then grows up with his daughter. It's really weird, but that's what I think of when I think of past lives and remembering. Anyways, often those children who do remember their past lives forget them entirely by the age of 6 or 7, and they never talk about them or remember the memories again. So there's a man named John Tucker. He is a psychiatrist at the University of Virginia, or at least he was at some point. I'm not exactly sure if he's still there. Well, he is one of the leading researchers on the topic of reincarnation and the fact that like kids forget at a certain age. And he says of this phenomena of them remembering and then forgetting, and I quote, "This is when children start school and start having more experiences in the current life. as well as when they tend to lose their childhood memories. And of the case we discussed today, of course, we can never say for sure if it really happened, if it was true, or if it was a hoax. If we're very honest, there's no way to actually prove any case of reincarnation. This is where faith comes into play in general. Generally speaking, you have to have faith to believe that this sort of thing could happen. You either believe or you don't. None of us can know until we die. The story is definitely interesting, though. I wish we just had more information. I wish we had the names. The name of the kid, the name of the family, the name of the supposed murderer or murder victim, so I could just look into that case in general. That would just give me a little more, but it's all been like taken to the grave. No one's saying anything. The only person that could like really tell us is the doc, but the doc sadly has died, and they took it to the grave. But with that said, this isn't an isolated incident. There's many, many cases of reincarnation all around the world of kids remembering. But with that said, many kids also have imaginary friends. So I wonder if like, it's because kids are closer to the other side now, but you know what? Now I'm just going off on a thing. That's a whole nother video maybe. Maybe, probably not, but you know what I mean. The fact is, no one knows. No one really knows what happened here. No one really knows what happens when we die. So there's no way to know if we are essentially recycled. And that's why cases of reincarnation and past life memories are so wild, and why this case in particular of a boy remembering his past life and solving his own murder is one of the most mysterious stories of all time. But anyways, guys, that completes this video. I know it was a shorter one. I don't like to do shorter videos, but this is just all the information there is out there. And I thought that this story was interesting enough and has been on my brain for long enough that I wanted to share it with you in case you haven't heard of it. And I thought that it was perfect for a Drunk Mysteries episode. So I hope you enjoyed it. Did you like it? Are you liking the series? Please let me know. I know some of you really liked my DB. At the time that I'm filming this, I uploaded DB Cooper a couple weeks ago, and tomorrow, in my time, Natalie Wood goes up. So just so you know how in advance I film, because I film in advance. Because I don't want life to ever happen where there's some big issue with me so I can't film and you miss out on a video. So I pre-film so that if something comes up, because sometimes it does, I've already had it happen where something comes up and I still have videos going out. I had COVID and I still had videos going out because I pre-film. But anyways, the time that I'm filming this, I've only uploaded one Drunk Mysteries episode, so I don't know how you guys are really feeling about it. So please let me know if you're liking the series so I can continue with it if you are. And man, okay, what do you think of this story? Do you think it was true? Do you think it was bullshit? Do you think it was bullshit? I think it was wild, for sure, but the lack of information does bother me. The lack of details, the lack of names. We don't know the name of the boy. We don't know the name of the supposed murderer. We don't even know the name of the man who was supposedly murdered and then reincarnated in this young boy. And that lack of information does make me a little skeptical. But in general, I'm skeptical, so. It's just that, like, it's hard to keep anything a secret, especially in our current day and age. I don't even know what year this happened, so that could be part of it. But I feel like at this point in life, it's hard to keep anything true a secret. You would think, yeah, so Doc has passed away, but maybe the kid is alive, the kid's family's alive, so nobody has wanted, because this case isn't like a secret. People know about it. It's out there. If you Google it, you'll find it. And they haven't thought like, I could monetize this experience. And as sad as that is, that's the world we live in. Everyone wants to monetize every experience they've ever had in their entire life. So I'm like, why hasn't anyone came out to say anything ever? I don't know. I think it's a little odd, but let me know what you think. Do you believe it's true? Do you believe it's true? Let me know. But anyways, that's like it. The video's done. I had fun. Did you have fun? These were delicious. And now I'm a little day drunk. I get to edit this video. It's gonna be a good time. If you have not tried these and you like cider, and you're of legal drinking age, I suggest you try them. Please let me know down below of any mysteries you would like to see me cover. It can be true crime that's unsolved and a little mysterious. It can be things like this, just anything that fits into the realm of a mystery. Let me know down below. That's of course if you like it. I currently have a schedule in mind where I'm gonna be posting 4 morbid makeup videos a week and a drunk mystery video every other week, which would give you 6 videos a month from me. But of course, all of that is gonna depend on if you're even liking this content, because if you're not, I'll probably just like stop, you know what I mean? Anyways, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Join the Brat Pack. I'd love to hang out with you. I post new videos every week, sometimes 2 a week. Like this week, there was one today and there was one Monday. So if you missed that, please check it out. And of course, if you want to hang out more consistently, check the description box. I list all of my social media down below for your pleasure so that we can hang out and chat. I'm always chatting with you guys in the DMs, and on Instagram we do lives where we chat, we do behind the scenes where I do the makeup for Drunk Mysteries. It's just like a good time, so if you want to do that, you can. Of course, if you don't know, every Monday I do a morbid makeup video where I do a full face of makeup and talk about a true crime case. It's a fun time. Well, I don't know if fun is the right word, but if you like true crime and you like mysteries and you like all this, you'll probably like that as well. And with all of that said, thank you for being here when you could literally be anywhere else in the world. That is tight. You are tight. Please stay curious and stay safe, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.